What's going on today, guys? Cubeologist here, and today we're going to be doing a review of the new Cong or Tong's design Mei Ying. So this is the fourth cube in the Ying series. As you guys know, Tong started designing for Moyu back in the very beginnings of Moyu actually, and he designed the Huan Ying, then he did the Li Ying, the Yue Ying, which was just recently before this one, and now the Mei Ying cube. So there's a few things I want to talk about with this puzzle. First off, the most obvious thing is the design. You can see here the pieces are designed a little bit differently than what we're used to with typical 3x3s, but it's not the first one to do this, nor do I think it will be the last. You can see that the edges are rounded off near the center here, the center's rounded, and the corners keep a pretty squared off design to keep from corner twisting, which works pretty well. Now the first puzzle to do this was the Gans 357, and you guys can see there that distinctive shape that I'm talking about. And then the World Record Cube kind of took a note from Gans and did the same thing. So here we've got the Yushin 3x3, and they also did this on their 4x4 as well. You can see that rounded off on one side edge with the square corners and the rounded centers. And then also we have the Gans 356 that you can see right here. So all four of these cubes take the same design into account, and it seems to work really well with helping corner cutting and reducing corner twists. So I think we will see more designers definitely take a note from these designs because they're fantastic, everybody likes them, and they seem to work really well. But now let's get back to the Mei Ying. I've done 200 or 300 solves on this cube, and as you can see here, it turns really well. It fits my turning style fairly well. Also, it's pretty quick. It's not quite as loud as the previous Yu Ying, and it is a lot faster. That's the biggest change as far as I can tell. So you can see there, yeah, those were some pretty good times. But now I want to show you guys corner cutting, because I don't think corner cutting out of the box means anything. It's all about after you've broken in the cube and lubed it and tensioned it. So after I've done all that, we'll start at 45. Pretty simple, a little bit over 45, still goes. And then reverse is line to line whenever I don't drop the cube. Little under line to line, as you can see there, and that is on all sides. Now the loudness issue that everyone has had with the Ying puzzles is actually gone in this one. You can see I was actually turning pretty rough there because I was pretty inaccurate, but the loudness issue is completely gone. This is a pretty quiet cube, and I'm pretty happy about that. And coming in at just over 55 millimeters, this is a pretty good cube for all types of solving, and even one-handed, I've found. I don't really do one-handed solving, but it fits well in your hand whenever you're trying to do certain algorithms, and that's all that I'm really looking for because I'm horrible at OH. Now this cube, on the tensions that I have, that cut 45, actually feels a little bit unstable. The corners are a little bit unstable, you can see there, but if I tighten it up any more, it doesn't corner cut nearly as well. And I'll show you something here. Even at these tensions, it is impossible to get a piece out. So I actually have to loosen it a few turns in order to just get a piece out. And while I'm doing that, let's take a look at the mechanism. So you can see here that even though cosmetically it looks like the Gans 356 and the Yushin, it's actually just your typical 3x3. It has the hollow corners that are typical of the Ying design, but with these new cuts here, and these tracks have been added around the edge piece, which gives it a really quick feel, and there's not much friction at all when you're actually turning this puzzle. But you can see there it uses the normal core, so they haven't taken the octopus core design from Gans yet, which actually is my favorite part of a Gans puzzle. One of my screws is actually a little off center, which I can definitely feel in the turning, but that's not that big of a deal if you get your screws straight, and it really doesn't affect my turning or speed at all. So you can get this puzzle right now from the Cubicle for $16, and to say who I would recommend this cube for, because I get this question a lot, anybody really. All the 3x3s are so good now that it's typically just a matter of feel as to whether or not you should be using a cube. Now, if you want to see another perspective on this, I'm actually sending it to my friend LT Cuber to review, and he is a little bit slower than me, so you can get a better understanding of how this cube works for a bit of a slower 3x3 solver, but still somebody who has a really good eye for what's good and bad about a cube. But yeah, I would definitely recommend this puzzle if you like fast cubes, kind of smooth. There's a little bit of a bumpy feel, just a little bit crispy, but it's still a very, very good cube. And if I didn't have the GAN 356, I think this would probably be my main, but as for now, it will not be. But I love the new Cong's design, and I love where he's going with his designs. So if you're watching this song, which I'm sure you're not, keep up the great work. It's an amazing feeling puzzle, and I would recommend anybody that's really into 3x3 to at least give this a try. So I really appreciate you guys watching. I hope you learned something from this, and I hope you know a little more about this puzzle than you did before you watched. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and you'll hear from me soon, guys. Later.